I'm Allie. I came out after 20 years of marriage, and I have 3 kids.
I'm Melissa, and I have 2 kids, and I came out at 37 after an 11-year marriage.
This podcast is about coming out later and the struggles and victories that come with it.
When coming out feels like the end of the world, but it's really just the beginning.
This is the Lesbian Chronicles. Welcome to the Lesbian Chronicles.
Where we know too many people
We
now.
know too many people, and we're throwing a party together for Pride, and Melissa's going off the fucking
what's
rails.
funny is like I see a lot of invites on there that I didn't add.
I know, it's
ma'am.
true. Well, you know what it is I look at us as like having all the same friends, but we don't.
Yeah, that's
There's
true.
a
There's people
whole-
on there that I don't know who they are.
People, and I sent you one today. I'm like, who the hell is
I
this?
know.
You're like, trust me, I
I'm
know
like,
her.
I've known her for a few years. I know you haven't met her. I've known her for a few years.
I'm like, she doesn't exist if I haven't met her. It's been the party invites are officially cut off.
100%. I absolutely agree with you.
Someone told me yesterday, they were like, what are you going to do if it rains? And then I was like, what the fuck am I going to do?
Cancel.
So, yeah, or we'll have to just like lock the door at a certain time.
I know,
and no one
right?
else
Like
can
we're
come
at
in.
capacity. Like the fire department's going to show up.
Or my neighbors. I got to warn all my neighbors.
You know what? I had the thought though, like what if we're so fun, this party is so bumping that your neighbor over there, the Indigo girl, can see that there's a bunch of lesbians in your backyard.
Oh my God.
And she comes over. Come
Should
to my
we-
window.
Listen, come to my window.
Oh wait, is that Melissa
It's
Etheridge?
Melissa Etheridge, but still same vibe, same vibe.
know.
Should we throw a little something in her mailbox? Just saying, you know,
100%.
make a guest appearance for your neighbor.
A little handwritten note.
That just says make a
Dude,
fucking with muffins.
Why not go for it with muffins?
With muffins.
I had to write a handwritten note again the other day. My printer's broken, if that isn't obvious.
Dude, I know your handwriting sucks.
And it's so bad. It's so bad. And
Yeah.
a package got delivered to my old townhouse. And I'm like trying to figure out what do I do? I can't really knock on this person's door. That feels weird.
Right.
So finally I decided I'm going to write a note and put it on their door and
Oh,
just say, I
old school
mistakenly,
style.
mistakenly had a package delivered here. Can you please call me?
Right.
And she called. She
That
could
sounds
read
like
my handwriting.
She could read it.
And I got my package back.
There you go then.
So
it all worked
you know,
out.
the handwritten note, sometimes it's just, even if it looks like a kidnapping ransom note, it
I think
works.
too, like if it's your neighbor, I can't be too fucking crazy.
That's true.
Yeah, I'm doing it. I mean, what do I have to lose at this point?
What do you have to lose?
Yeah, and I'll sign your name.
Okay. Totally. I'm here for it. I don't care. Throw me under the bus.
It's true. It's true. No, she might come. I don't know. Somebody told me when she comes home, she completely is like quiet on the set, like doesn't do a thing.
I mean, I can imagine what it's like to be like that kind of presence around that many people all the time. Everybody wants to talk to you. There's all these moving parts. Like when you come home,
like why would she ever want to come over here?
Like the last thing she wants to do is
It's
make
all
some sort of, like,
strangers.
celebrity
But the
appearance.
truth is, she'd probably know people here.
Maybe.
You know what I
Wait,
mean?
You think?
Yeah. I mean, there's lesbians in Atlanta. This is a big group. I guarantee there's like a couple degrees of separation.
Probably.
Yeah.
I could see that.
We're inviting her.
Okay.
What the hell?
Let's go
I mean,
for
we're starting to get really confident.
We
over
already
here.
have too many people invited. So
I will say what's giving me kind of some peace is some people are like, I'm going to come later
yeah.
after dinner or whatever. So then I'm like, okay, maybe we'll have like a wave of people that come and leave and go do something else.
Yeah. I'm thinking also too, some people are going to stay out way too late on Friday night because that's the really big party.
That's true.
So maybe they'll be like,
Wait, ours isn't the really big party?
I mean, do you want to have like 500 plus people
No,
here?
but if you could have a curated group of 50 versus
100%
hundreds
ours
in a
is gonna
public,
be
ours is
way better.
Ours is the party. Sorry, guys.
Sorry, KP. Ours is going to be really good.
In any event, I think so. Melissa sent me a podcast that Melissa sends me shit all the time. I'll just say that.
She watches about 50%.
I watch 50%. But you caught me on the train between New York City and going to visit Owen. So I had this like dedicated space of nothing to do.
You were bored.
I was very bored. So I'm like, I'm just going to listen. And then my brain lit up. Like I just started firing
I got like
texts.
a million texts within about like a 30-minute period.
And then finally I was like, just ignore me. These are show notes.
Right. I know, because I was like replying to them and I'm like, oh my God, I can't keep up. Like, yes, I sent you this, but I wasn't expecting
Yes, I agree.
this.
Same. But anyway, I thought that was so good, and I don't remember who the doc. We listened to
Amy
lots
Chan.
of things. Okay, but she wasn't really the knowledge base. It was they had a doctor on that was talking.
No, that's
was
who
that
it was.
the doctor?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Okay, good.
So she's on a bunch of different podcasts.
Okay.
I happen to come across her on TikTok.
As you get all your news.
Exactly. I get all my news like every other Gen Z person, right?
It's true. It's true.
But just in the little TikTok that I saw, I was like, man, I want to hear more of what this woman has to say. So I looked up on podcasts and found a podcast from her. That's the one I listened to. And it's funny because I think as women dating women, we tend to drift towards like lesbian only content. Yep. This is 100% like heteronormative speak that this episode was speaking to. But there were so many things that were hitting home given our recent breakups that I was like, we have to talk about this.
100%.
So we're going to talk about it from the standpoint of the lesbian experience versus the gay or the straight experience. Because there were so many excellent points that there
were so many good points. And it's like everyone, I don't know if this is something going on, but like in our friend group, the breakups are rampant. The broken hearts are rampant. The trying to get over people. It's every day. Letting go
hard.
Or the reattaching or the connection or I'm not connected. I'm attached. I'm not attached. It's like watching all my friends essentially suffer through breakups is what I feel like has been the last year, not only for me, but for you, for a million of us. And we're always hunting for what to do or like what's helpful.
I feel like all of us, we're not just breaking up and being like, let me find the next person.
No.
We have broken up and we're like, let me dive deeper as to like what's going on here.
Yep.
What mistakes did I make?
Yep.
In what ways did I hang on too long? What could I have done differently? What can I do differently in the future? Like, how do I not let this impact my future relationships?
And make me so bitter that I can't show up fun anymore.
Exactly.
It's like, how do I go out if I feel like shit because my heart's broken?
Right. No one wants to hang out with Melissa from
Oh my
June.
God. Melissa was only good for about 3 of us. And we just kept her tight in the wraps. We didn't like to have her go out.
I know. I told Christine today, I was like, you guys have listened to my bullshit for like a year now. Like, you've proven that you're truly my friends because I'm like a broken fucking record sometimes.
Well, though it does show how awesome you must be that we did a few months of that because it's worth the good stuff on the other side.
Exactly. It takes
and you
time.
did just make me a really good drink, and I don't
you.
even like cocktails, so this is fabulous.
I'm very good.
What's in it, by the way?
That is vodka with some cranberry juice and then some sort of like raspberry lime seltzer that was in your fridge.
Very good. I love it. I love how you like make do with whatever I have.
I'll figure something out.
Exactly. All right, well, let's get into you break up with someone. All these feelings are happening. You're crying. You're feeling mad. You're all these things. Let's start there. So woman A is wrecked. She just got out of a breakup. And let's start with
woman
that
B
feeling.
is fine and
moving on,
ready just to move on or just to be on their own. You know?
Wants to be single for whatever reason, doesn't want to be in this relationship.
Right. I think in those situations, woman A is she wants it back.
Yeah.
You know, ultimately.
She's clinging.
Like, because the hard thing to do is to let go of the lifestyle is essentially one of the lessons I took home from that episode is like sometimes we're clinging to the lifestyle we had with that person.
Yeah.
It is
the friendships,
the friendships that are attached to
the
it.
banter.
The dinners, all that.
Checking my text in the morning. Good morning. What are you doing?
Exactly.
All of it.
And even down to like the comfort of like staying at their place or maybe the place that you guys live together in and you had to move out of.
Yep.
You know, you feel like you're losing.
Right.
And you're also wondering what's going to happen to this lifestyle. Which parts of it are going to stick around?
Yeah. What do I still get?
What do I still get? Do I still get the friendships?
Yep.
You know, what about like, how do we divide this up? You know, do I get the people that I came into the relationship with?
Right.
Are you taking them too?
And it's also the psychological games you play with yourself of like, should I text? Should I look like I'm having fun? Am I here mourning this relationship or am I out with my friends taking pictures and posting on social media? What is my next play?
Are you posting that like quote from
or you posting the quotes. Oh my God, when people do that, I can always tell a breakup.
Right, exactly. But I mean, it's a little therapeutic in a way. Not gonna lie, I've done it.
Of course you have. Of course, June Melissa did that.
100%. But I'm also like, don't do that.
Don't do that.
So I know it feels therapeutic to you to be like, yeah, I'm putting this out here, and her friends are gonna see it.
Yeah.
The best thing to do is to screenshot it and save it for yourself.
That's it. Go quiet.
And move along.
And kind of what Amy Chan is her name, right? Okay, one of the things she said is this thing about like your neural pathways develop in a relationship where it's like your brain knows that every morning I'm going to roll over and my partner's there, or every morning if you're dating someone and you've broken up, you're looking for that text or that like thing that happens. And so one of the things that she said is to completely, which you've said, get off social media so that you're not in the morning starting your day with this punch to the gut.
Yeah.
Because that you need to start to unwind yourself from that neural pathway, which is that you get the hit of dopamine of like happiness.
Because sometimes it's the dopamine.
It's the dopamine when
it's
a chemical.
When they reach out and say something, when they text you, hey, I'm just checking in, want to see how you're doing. That's the dopamine hit. But when you're on social media and you go look at their page and you see that they just did this really awesome trip without you and they look like they didn't think about you for a fucking second.
They didn't.
It is like the opposite of dopamine.
Exactly.
Like your whole stomach drops.
Exactly.
So that's why blocking on social media. The other thing that I did, which I kind of need to like figure out who all I did this to, I muted a bunch of people on Instagram.
Yeah.
Muted seeing their posts and their stories. Even like some of my closest friends.
Right.
Because I'm like, I can't risk that they might be hanging out with this person
right.
and I'm going to see that and it's going to be
I don't want to see
that
it.
dreadful feeling in my gut.
Right. And that's what she called synaptic pruning, where you essentially go in and you're doing it for your brain. I mean, you're basically pruning out all the shit that's going to cause you to feel that way because you need to develop new neural pathways that are positive, that aren't my stomach dropping with anxiety.
Right.
So synaptic pruning would be the first thing somebody should do in that situation where you know you're in a breakup and you need to start to clean your mental house.
Yeah.
And start over.
Yeah.
With new neural pathways.
And recognize that intermittent reinforcement that's happening there.
Yep.
Like
big.
Because while it does give you that dopamine hit, like let's say you didn't talk for 2 weeks and they finally reach out and they say, how are you doing? I'm just checking in.
Yep.
Like that is that reinforcement that happens that gives you a little bit of hope.
It's a hit.
And and it brings you back to a childhood trauma.
That's right.
Of like waiting for attention.
Yep.
And you finally got that attention. You feel good for that moment. But then it's like, when does it happen again? When do I hear from them again?
And what you just described too, scientifically, is you're making that neural pathway even stronger when it's intermittent. And they did studies, she said, on rats, where it's like if you give them cheese only every fourth time, you make that neural pathway so fucking strong, you're never getting over this woman.
Didn't she say that sometimes the rats even die?
They died trying to get it.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like you are making that neural pathway so strong, forget getting over her.
Right.
You're going to be an obsessed lunatic junkie.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to do the work of synaptic pruning to rid yourself of that so that you can't get the intermittent reinforcement of the tether that they might want you to have. Because truthfully, I notice when my friends like get out of relationships, a lot of times these women aren't going anywhere. They're kind of halfway sticking around to sort of keep you in the game for whatever reason. Maybe they're scared of losing you completely, or maybe they want to tether just in case things don't work out on the new thing they've got. I don't know. I'm not speaking about anybody specifically, but I'm just saying that tends to happen. Like you see this where people just don't take the break.
Yeah. Absolutely.
They still throw breadcrumbs.
There's a whole episode of How I Met Your Mother about this.
Really?
Yeah. Where it's called Keeping Someone on the Hook. And everybody always has someone on the hook.
Yeah.
And it's the whole thing with like trying to be honest with someone and being like, you know what? I just can't, I don't want to be in a relationship. I'm really
scared
happy
of
with
losing
what
you,
I'm
but
doing.
I need to do it.
And I don't want to be with you right now.
Yeah.
The right now is that little fucking
thing.
hook.
Yep, I might want to.
Stays in there.
Yep.
And that's just it. They want to keep you. They want to be able to have their own reinforcement, their own dopamine hit of reaching out to you and you replying.
Yep.
It goes both ways.
Right.
And I really think too, we're talking about cutting contact and all this stuff. And I know that feeling of being like, oh, I can't be that mean. Like the breakup, we were really amicable. Like we really still have a lot of love for each other. We want to be kind. You don't want to do the blocking, right?
Yeah.
Because it feels
feels weird. Yeah.
But what I think the right path is to tell them, I'm blocking you because I need to heal.
Yeah.
This is not permanent, but at least for the next like 6 months, I need to heal myself.
My partner said that to me.
Yeah.
And I appreciated it.
Yeah.
I understood. She actually saw a picture recently that you posted of a group of us and said,
did I get you in trouble?
No, not at all. I mean, she just was like, God, I had blocked you, but then you're in this photo and I know someone in the photo and I felt this pang of, it hurt me a little bit. And I understood that. And I reassured her but I guess I feel like that too. It's almost like that synaptic pruning. Sometimes you got to cut a little deep,
right,
to make sure that you're going to be okay and
I
you
think
can get your brain right.
Just saying, I'm going to block your number for a little bit.
Yep.
If something really traumatic happens, you can email me.
Yeah.
I feel like email takes a lot more thought.
It does.
Than picking up your phone and shooting a quick text at 2 a.m.
100%.
But yeah, like the kindest thing you can do for yourself is to block them. Stop being so kind to them.
Yeah.
And put yourself ahead.
Put yourself ahead. You're not in that relationship anymore.
Yeah, you don't owe them shit anymore.
You don't owe them anything. And that kind of leads me to the next thing, which is the girlfriend experience, which talk a little bit about that. Because that's, I think, when you start, you're babysitting the healing person. And I do this sometimes. I was with my partner a long time. She does it for me sometimes. But it's like you don't want to give the girlfriend experience to someone who's no longer your partner, where I'm babysitting or I'm taking care of your needs. I'm filling this need for you. You're not mine anymore.
And it could look as simple as like, hey, like, let's go shopping together. Like, I need to go look for a couch. I would love your input. Like, let's just spend the afternoon together, friendly, whatever, nothing's happening. But it's still like they're keeping you on the hook.
Yeah.
It's the girlfriend experience. It's something that like, you really aren't doing for many of your close friends.
No.
Like, how many couches have I helped you buy over the past 6-7 years?
0.
Exactly.
Yeah, I did move a mattress, though, today for one of our friends.
Okay.
So, but it is rare, actually, now that you say it.
I know.
Yeah.
Like, there's just little, like, when we've never gone to TJ Maxx together and just browsed around for fun. Like, that's a girlfriend experience.
It's a girlfriend experience.
Going and grabbing lunch and coffee. Like, just you're fulfilling their need to continue to have you.
Right.
You're not getting anything in return.
No. And ask yourself, what am I getting in return? I guess what you're getting is you want to be with them so badly.
It's just reinforcing what you think you've lost.
It's exactly right. Yep. And I think too, the other like thing people do that I thought was interesting, because a guy commented on this, is he's like, when I see that this woman I broke up with is trying to look like she's out having a blast on social media, he's like, it's more of like a turnoff to me.
Yeah.
Like, I know that's not
the attention
real.
seeking.
It's attention seeking.
Yeah. And
attention seeking is not confident. It's the opposite of confident.
Exactly.
A flex is you're nowhere.
You're nowhere.
You're
doing your own thing.
You're doing your own thing. You're
and
working
not
on you.
blasting it all over the internet.
Exactly. So think about that when you get that urge to like post this picture of you having a blast. Yeah. It's not the right decision ever.
No. And really, it takes away the mystery.
It takes away the mystery.
And
most people see right through it. If you're going through a breakup, why are you out laughing your ass off?
And do you really think that like he's going to or she's going to see the picture and be like,
God, I really missed out on that.
That picture right there is just, I'm back.
Yeah.
Like, it's not happening. It's not doing any good.
It's not doing any good at all. The other thing that she mentioned kind of in that same vein of thought is people don't, like, a lot of times you get broken up with and you think I'm not pretty enough, or I'm too old. I'm too this. My body's not perfect. You go over all these physical attributes about yourself that just aren't good enough. That's why they left me. I'm not pretty enough. That other woman's prettier. Mm-hmm. But the truth is, the doctor was saying that more often than not, it has nothing at all to do with physical appearance. It's how that person feels when they're with this other person. Yeah. It's about how they feel. So I think take the physical, like that hurts, like that stings to think I'm not good enough. That's rarely what it's about. And so I think that made me feel good of like, okay, well then I don't need to feel like I'm comparing myself physically, because like I feel like that sucks.
Yeah. I'm also like, take stock of you being the common denominator. Like you being the fun one, you being funny and smart and people engaging and people want to be around you. You're having good sex with everybody. You're the fucking common denominator.
Yeah, it's
so
true.
Stop putting so much weight on it being this other person being needed to be in that spot for you to be that person.
It's so true. And then too, like to point out that like relationships, she said over the beginning of a relationship, there's a lot of dopamine, like we talked about, like you're getting hit constantly. You're in this new relationship. It's the new relationship energy. The dopamine is like hit. I feel so good. You texted me. I feel good. Mm-hmm. We're meeting out. I feel good. Like all these things. And as a relationship progresses, if it's progressing the way it should, eventually that chemical goes away. And now there's a new chemical, but it's a comfort chemical. It's a companion chemical. And I think some people who are immature mistake that for, the relationship's dead. I need more dopamine.
Yeah.
And so they look to feel good with someone else, get the hit with someone else. They think the relationship's dead. The relationship is doing exactly what the relationship should do. I mean, do you think my mom still gets a dopamine hit when my dad shows up? She doesn't. She loves my dad. It's the best marriage ever.
Right.
But the dopamine's gone. Now she has oxytocin with him. Mm-hmm. And it's her companion. And safety. And it's like we all should, not we all, I mean, maybe not everybody does, but like I strive for that kind of love.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like to feel the dopamine go away feels good. It doesn't feel scary. But I think some people, that is scary. Oh, it's dead. I gotta find someone else. This is fading. I'm not excited anymore. So it's not looking for the hot new girl. Maybe it's looking for the girl who makes me feel some kind of way that you don't anymore because I'm not getting dopamine hits.
Yeah. And that kind of relates to, I feel like, to the other thing that you'd brought up with the fading effect of like, you remember the good times, but you forget about like, the real thing that happened at that event.
Exactly.
Like,
you forget all about it.
You know, you're like, oh yeah, that was a really beautiful wedding. And then you forget about all the other things that happened behind the scenes of the wedding.
Like, I mean, I just thought about today that I saw this picture of my partner and I at this music festival in Tennessee. It's called Pilgrimage. It's a total fucking blast. We saw Zach Bryan. We saw the Lumineers. Like, we had a blast. And I saw this picture and I started to be like, oh man, that was so fun. And I was like, God, that's the kind of stuff I really miss, is like these memories of like, we got beers and we're like listening to this great music. But the fading effect, I forgot that the entire ride to Tennessee was a massive argument.
Yeah.
It was like terrible. Like, we got to the hotel and we were like, dude, we're here. We better like rally for the music.
We better go have fun. Let's get drunk.
Let's get drunk. And like, that is the fading effect. Yeah. It's like you're left with these memories that are like, shit, that was so great. But it's like, be careful because you're pedestaling that person.
Yeah. And I think that's why it's really important to journal.
Yeah.
And because
write down how bad they suck.
I mean,
I'm just kidding.
know,
I'm just kidding.
In a way, yes.
In a way, yes.
Like, and I did this in a past relationship that was, you know, with a borderline narcissist, where I had to take notes on like what had happened to like check my facts when she tried to change the narrative.
Oh, the gaslighting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like, no,
say more.
Like, I'd
like
go
how?
back and like look and be like, that's not what happened that day.
Yeah.
You know,
like you left me.
You left
standing,
me.
Yeah.
Or just to keep track of all the things that happened.
Right.
And to read back and be like, this shit's piling up at this point where you've broken up with me 10 times. And, you know, like, it's so like your brain wants to focus so much on the positive.
Yeah.
That you forget about the negative.
Right. It's fading
so,
effects.
Like, if you've got to journal this shit in a secret locked note on your phone, like, do it because it's going to help put your brain in check.
I know. I said,
like, the reality.
I say to people, I need a body cam. Like, this is rewriting history.
Right?
I need a body cam.
Exactly.
That is not what happened.
I know, man.
Yeah.
Gaslighting is real.
Gaslighting is real. The fading effect is real. I do it, and I'm like very conscious about my thoughts, I'm checking in with myself all the time, and I do it.
Yeah.
So if I'm doing it, everyone's doing it.
And you know, it kind of circles back to that childhood stuff of like some of our childhood memories are buried so deep.
Yeah.
Like, the bad memories are buried so deep because
You
they're
have
so
that.
traumatic. Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, imagine that's what we're doing You know, you're bearing those traumatic moments in your relationship where something really sucked or something was really hurtful, and then you're glorifying the moment where it's like, oh, it was fun for like those 10 minutes and that picture that we took. I was like, I kind of forgot what was going on.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
So
it's fucking true as hell. And you're right. We do it as children. We did it as, I mean, I act like I had this best childhood. And I did for the most part, but there were a lot of really hard things. My mother drank for many years. It was terrible. Mm-hmm. Like I think about my abandonment issues. I mean, why am I this way?
If you go back to like our early episodes, I know both of us were like, childhood was great.
It was so good.
It was great.
Yeah.
I had Christmas morning, and all these presents. It was great. Like,
I know. It's like, really, dude?
But really, just because you're fed and water doesn't mean you're okay.
No. And I think too, like, okay, so somebody might say, like somebody like my sister who I adore might say like, oh, you did all this work to uncover all this trauma, but why? Like, why do you want to be fighting this battle? Like, why not just be like, okay, at peace with it? Like, she's happy. Yeah. But what I've come to realize over the last couple months in my doing all this work, all this therapy, just looking for happy any way I can find it, is that like, really the people who just do autopilot status quo, I'm happy, I'm not going to do the work, I'm going to be meh my whole life, I'm not going to get overly happy in my life, but I'm also not going to suffer the way you suffer, Allie. That's a choice.
Yeah.
Like that's a choice. Don't dig in. Don't dig in on mom and dad. Don't ask the hard questions. Be happy with things the way that they are. And that's a fair choice. But it's just not the way that I'm going.
Right. And I think that there is a big part of us that's like, we want to do better.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to let those buried childhood memories come out in my relationship.
Or on my own children.
Exactly. Yeah. Like, I feel like as much as this divorce situation has sucked and all of the things that we've been through over the past few years, I am a so much better parent because of it.
100%.
Like, I can talk to my kids in a way that I couldn't. I can recognize their feelings, kind of almost in a way predict like, okay, this might be what's going on. Yeah, this might be what's going on. I need to dig deeper with them, that kind of stuff. I wouldn't like, if I was still in that past life of not having done therapy, not having dove deeper, I wouldn't recognize these things in my kids.
100% true.
Now my kids might in 15 years be like, Mom, you're so self-absorbed.
No, but I don't think so. Cause it's like, anything goes here. Like my kids know. It's like you can tell me some really dark shit and I'm here for it.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you about a time that I had a similar thing. Like I think that's different from my parents. So I feel like in some ways the buck stops here. Like we're going to change it now.
Yeah.
We're going to be better than that. And there'll be things they're going to do for their kids that are better than I do.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's okay, but isn't that the work, right? Like we're all going to drag this
and
flag
that's just
a little
it.
further.
I want to eventually, if my kids choose to have kids, I want to look at them and be like, wow, they're doing an even better job than I did.
Right. Totally. And I think when you break up with someone, one of the things that she mentioned is you're glorifying this person, like we said, the pedestal. Mm-hmm. The one thing she said is somebody brought up on the show, like, well, I met this guy and I like didn't immediately feel anything. I didn't feel all the things. He was fun to talk to. We had a great time, but it wasn't like, oh, I got to have you.
Yeah.
And the doctor was saying that it's a familiarity that you feel over time. You start to like what you know well. Mm-hmm. And so if you meet someone that like checks all these boxes for you, you're like, God, they could be so great, but I'm not feeling this draw to like kiss you.
Yeah.
That hang in there a minute. Because sometimes the chemistry doesn't show up day one. Sometimes it shows up day 5. Sometimes it shows up a month in and you're like, damn, I am into you. Mm-hmm. What was I doing? Like, you're beautiful to me.
Yeah.
Like, I think that does happen. I've seen it with my friends.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of the time, too, we are drawn to the person who makes us feel like we did when we were a kid.
Yeah.
And when you're not encountering someone like that is all the
boring.
Things, it's kind of
you're
like...
so boring.
Like,
if you're not making me cry
at
home on a Friday
night, a little nervous,
exactly.
If I don't have a little bit of an anxiety.
If I don't have huge anxiety, I don't like you. It's obvious I don't like you.
I keep saying, if you're not a little mean to me, I kind of don't know what to do with myself. But I'm letting go of that.
Like, I know, because it's like that says everything about you.
I know.
Nothing about them.
I don't need someone to be mean to me
I know, but
anymore.
I'm the same way.
You guys even said this to me a few years ago. I know it was you and I think someone else. Maybe it was
I'm
Christine,
such an asshole.
But you're like, I feel like you need to be with someone who you're a little afraid of. And I was like, I think you're right. I do.
It's true.
But I'm kind of taking that away from me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need that.
No, and it's like, what's hot is confidence. So if you're hot and confident, that's the new mean, right? Like,
exactly.
I don't need you to be mean.
I don't need you to be mean.
Be hot and confident.
Exactly.
Exactly. It's true. So I think, like, to people out there who think they can never have it this good again, bullshit.
Give it time.
Give it time.
Like, that is the biggest thing, too. It's like, you're not going to feel better overnight. Bottom line. It's not happening.
No. And so you can take your medicine and do the work, or you can sit here pretending it's not happening.
You can sit here and post thirst traps that they're not going to notice because they probably
don't
blocked
even
you
notice.
already.
They're not even thinking about you.
They're not even thinking about you.
Exactly. So I think this is a good place to end.
I think so. We're right at the 30-minute mark.
Oh, very good.
Boom.
Boom. All right. Well, have a good weekend.
Bye.
Bye.
Want to support the Lesbian Chronicles podcast? Rate us and write a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify.
We love listener feedback. If you'd like to share your story, email us at melissaandallie@gmail.com. That's Melissa, MELISA, and Allie, ALLI, @gmail.com. Or follow us on Instagram at Lesbian Chronicles.